Good morning and welcome to the Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. There's a time to forget old mentors, teachers, coaches. And the recent pandemic urges me to ask you to forget Dale Carnegie. Now we have an amended art, a changed art of influencing and persuading people. It's an intricate art, but what was valid at one time may not be valid at another time. And looking at COVID vaccine and other allied factors, I have learned that the psychology of the people has undergone a change. So, how to influence people? How to persuade people to your point of view? And there are certain principles that come to my mind which may not be at all in conformity with what you have been taught till now. As a matter of fact, as I said, the people's psychology changes, their outlook changes, and that changes their receptivity, their capacity to learn, and their capacity to think anew. So, how to influence and persuade people also needs certain alterations and changes. Here is what I suggest as the basic tenets of the new art of influencing and persuading people. First is harness the power of scarcity. The perception of scarcity makes anything more valuable, more desirable. If a thing is freely available, you don't care for let the thing become scarce, and voila, you'll see people rushing like mindless ants to get that thing. Look at vaccination. A limited quantity of vaccination increase the demand for vaccination or for any other product. So the evidence is clear from this vaccination epidemic of demand, that when there is a limited access to something, a limited number of available options or items, people get a little crazy. So if you want to influence people, persuade people, create a feeling of scarcity and then harness that power of scarcity. That is the first tenet of influencing people and persuading them. It's not only influencing. In their actions or in their purchases or in their activities or even when casting a vote. So that you have to establish a trend. And once you establish trend, people just follow it mindlessly. You remember that they used to be drain pipe pants, then there were bell bottoms, classics. So a trend is set and the people just mindlessly follow it. So what are the 3 points to establish a trend? First is if need, manipulate it. Then difference. But let the people know that from the established trend and the 3 points that make a trend. So 1 point is data, 2 points are a difference, and combined of them make a trend. People will project that trend on into future and want to get on board with a bandwagon. So don't just communicate with 30% of the people who might be saying yes, but try to visualize what the future is going to be and present that. And let me tell you, most of the people would accept anything published, right or wrong, which is wrong, which basically goes against human need. But that's what the way people are made of. So how you seal the deal is to make people think that you are that they are a part of the trend and that trend would continue. Then the people feel safe. And when people feel safe, they are influenced. You cannot. So first is create scarcity, then create a trend. Third is don't persuade people yourself. Persuade some people and let them persuade the other one. Convert some and use the converts to convert. This is a typical method used by the cult leaders and the religious leaders. They have couple of people, whether they are converts or not is something different, but they show their dedicated followers. And then they start spreading the message that this sage, this rishi, this saint, this seer has a power to divine and he has a direct approach to God. So use the converts to convert others. The conversion of a skeptic convinces other skeptics. This is what happened in this pandemic. Most of the people did not think the virus was real. But when they saw a member of their family got sick, they realized that they need to take it seriously and get vaccinated. These people, converts, are essential to spread your message. These converts are the ones who are going to convince the others who are most difficult to be convinced, because then those people think, well, look here, these people have no extra grind. So if they are following him, if they are setting that trend, then it must be right. And the fourth is absolutely a game changer. Don't rely on facts. Do not rely on facts. Amazed? Facts, don't forget, facts are never enough. And they may not even be negative, maybe even negative. You have always got to present a positive picture. The literature shows, the literature of the human psychology, that the interventions that try to change what people think and feel about have a mixed track record in terms of changing actual behavior. Actual behavior is very difficult to change. So, and if you start giving bare facts, bones, and then people are not going to listen to you. But cover these bones with attractive flesh. And once you do that, people are there. They're ready to be persuaded. Actually, people want to be persuaded. They want to be influenced. They want to follow a leader. As I said, most of them don't think for themselves. But if you give them dry facts, but if you make those facts anecdotal, if you have a dramatic, pictorial quality, then those facts become or rather attain a level of acceptability. And do not forget, stories are more powerful than facts, than all the data and the numbers when it comes to changing someone's perspective. Well, you don't agree with it, but so and so did such and such, and then you were successful. Now, when you make a story, the narrative entices, the narrative enchants, captivates. And once you are captivated, you are influenced. Facts never captivate. Pure arithmetic is boring, is confusing. So don't give the facts only, but make them a narrative. And once you make a narrative, you will change the perspective and you'll change the behavior. And mind you, if the stories are having an ingredient of personal tragedy or personal triumph, personal victory, if there is a personal tragedy, then there is empathy created, a sense of feeling there for the God of God's grace goes I. I could have been in that place. So that establishes a communication and the person is influenced. And if it's a matter of triumph, the other says, well, if this man has been successful, why can't I be successful? So why not do what he is saying? Follow the lead. So make the stories, make them personal, make them either a tragedy or a triumph, and then use a negative story. The positive story is never appealing. The dog bites a man, nothing new. The positive story that you are not getting sick is no story because most people don't get sick. What needs highlighting is a negative effect of not vaccinating. I mean, say vaccinating, I'm talking because of the pandemic. If, for example, the Center of the Disease Control shows a video for the families who lost children in the flu, it sends a highly effective message. The fact that only 0.2% dies has not made an effect. But that 0.2% diet, if you make it personal, would have a terrible, terrible effect. Pure statistics have no meaning, as I showed you, that 0.2% people died who felt sick. But when those 0.6% become Mr. So and so, son of Mr. So and so, daughter of Mr. So and so, wife or husband of Mr. So and so, then that human touch comes in. So tell the vivid stories that pertain either to the personal tragedy or to the personal triumph. And that would make people persuaded, influenced as desired by you. Then, next ingredient, foster inclusivity. Make things inclusive. Rather than trying to force people into seeing the light and agreeing with you, effective pitches make it exclusive. Never say you should do it. Say join our team. We have the ammunition to win this deadly war. And we'll combine together to win over this ferocious enemy. We'll do this, we'll do that. The word we makes them feel elevated. They are not only members of the team, but they're valued members of the team. And when they have that inflated sense of ego, then they are prime candidates for being influenced and persuaded. Next is ask questions. When you tell people what to do, they push back. They don't want to ask the question. They counter argue. When they come up with the reasons that they do, why they don't agree with you, why they don't want to do the way you want to do, why don't they act the way you want to act, they are not persuaded. So never tell people what to do. They'll push back always. They always react. So what do? Ask questions such as, would you not like this to happen? How would you like if somebody very close to you has to suffer because of this action? So you are touching the chord which makes them think. And look here, maybe this man is talking sense. And if it's a loaded question, the answer, Say, don't you want your children to have a happy life? Now, which father or mother would not like to have? So ask a question which is loaded, to which the answer cannot be no. And once they agree, you have won half the battle of influencing them, persuading them. Then remove the speed bumps. You need a smooth road. The path of awareness to action is filled with the speed bumps. These speed breakers, you have got to remove them. It's a friction-free experience that you have to present. Well, if you follow this trend, it will be easy. Well, if you want to get a vaccination, what's so difficult? You go to the computer, log in, and fix up an appointment. There'll be a reminder for you. There'll be ping for you. There'll be default for you. So this can change to anything at any time. Make things appear very easy, even if they're difficult. You should always be making sure that you are telling them to do something which is a child's play. And well, the returns are there, the benefits are there. What more do you want to do? Then harness social proof. We are living in an age of social media. The more people see their peers, their equals, their heroes, and the leaders do something, they are likely to do that. And that's why they are photo ops. If in a photo op, a leader is having, say, sucking a mango, you can be sure that tomorrow there's going to be more demand for mangoes. So if the president of USA gets vaccinated, others say, well, he is a leader of the free world and his life is important. And if he is getting vaccinated, why should he not do? So all the presidents get together and get vaccinated. That's what happened in USA about 4 days back. So you need a symbol, a visible symbol. People need it. A visible symbol of shared identity. And they can relate to that. And there's nothing better than after that action, a V sign by the hero or by the peer. So that social proof harnessing is your tool for influencing and persuading people. And the last, going to use alliteration, masticate the monolith. The assumption is that everyone who resists has the same reason. This is wrong. The people who oppose you, who resist you, they don't have the same reason. There are a lot of different communities and different reasons for the people not to follow the trend, not to be persuaded, not to be influenced. For some, it can be safety. For others, it can be personal choice or a personal decision. So you have got to develop strategies and techniques to multiple segments of the population. That's why I say target marketing. Target marketing. You cannot influence people in the same way. Some people would be influenced much more by the spiritual thing, other by the material thing. Fourth, by a third group might be satisfied with the quality of life. The fourth group might be satisfied with their future generations being happier, and so on. So you have got to keep in mind that not all segments of society are going to assume that one trend is capable for. So you've got to have different streams, and then they merge into a river. So create streams which appeal to the groups that you want to influence, and then merge them. Ganga is a great river, the Ganges one, but it's great because of the various tributaries. If the more tributaries come, more small streams come, the rivers become big. And that's what we have got to do. So these principles of influence and persuasion are applicable not only in pandemic but in everything, whether it's a marketing, sales, even religion. So these amended laws are the way to get ahead, to persuade people, to influence people, and make them behave, act, and proceed, even live the way you want to do. So try it. Thank you.